Hey nerds, and welcome to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Theories and Conspiracies. I'm Brian from Good Nerd Bad Nerd. So thanks again to everyone who's commenting down below. I really appreciate it. This week's episode was so good. Really liked this episode. We finally learned really what Project Looking Glass is. There's so many different, nice character development things, but so much to talk about. Let's just jump into it. The highlights for this week. Number one, the John Garrett banner, which was a tribute to the actor, and calling him an American hero. Just seeing that this was during the Bakshi show, which was another kind of nice, cool thing in the episode. But that banner that played there was a nice tribute to the actor who passed away not too long ago. That was probably a nice subtle way that they did it, in that probably the best way they could have done it without it being something that they just drew a lot of attention to. Next, Victoria Hand was actually the one who recruited Ward. This was also a nice touch of dropping a name without having to, give a lot of backstory, but it shows just how much of a difference one person's impact in your life can make. It was Garrett who had originally recruited Ward, and he had recruited him for Hydra. But Victoria Hand, who everyone thought was going to be Hydra and turned out to be straight, 100% S.H.I.E.L.D., if she was the one who had recruited Ward, his life would have been so much different. And the evidence is there in the Ward that we're seeing within the framework. The last thing that I thought was a really nice touch and a highlight for this week was finding out really what kind of person Fitz's dad was. Fitz clearly is still intimidated by him, and we see and we learn really who he was from Radcliffe. Radcliffe calls him an angry, drunk man in the real world, and that Fitz is better off without him and better off with his mother. And you can clearly see, again, the kind of impact one person can have on a person's life. That really has been the theme of the framework. One choice, one person, just how different things can be from one little change. And so these were all great things. Fitz's dad, man, he intimidates me. So, the actor they picked, how they've kind of positioned him, but then even Fitz just kind of standing up to him and says, I can't let anyone fail me, even my dad, was pretty, pretty bold on Fitz's part, considering how obviously intimidating his dad is. So that those were, for me, some of the highlights. But what did we learn this episode? The first thing to look at is the title, All the Madam's Men. Clearly, this to me is a reference to Humpty Dumpty. All the king's men couldn't put Humpty back together again. And here, Ada, her framework version, Olivia, Madam Hydra, is broken, and the only way to put her back together that she is, can explain to Fitz, is to finish Project Looking Glass. And that's the big revelation from this week. Project Looking Glass uses the Darkhold magic, along with Fitz's brilliant designs, to go further than it ever possibly did with during the Ghost Rider arc, and it can now create bodies. And that's what Ada's plan was, to create a real body for herself and for now her Russian LMD bodyguard. This is huge. This is such a game-changing piece of technology that it has to be destroyed, because otherwise, death doesn't necessarily mean anything. You back up your mind before you go on a mission. If you die, they just pop out a new body. So the technology is clearly going to be destroyed. But the question is, who gets a body before it gets destroyed? Does Ada come out? If she does, what happens? But Trip, Ward, Radcliffe, who is going to be given a body? Does evil Fitz get to come out? Are we going to have two Fitzes out in the real world? That would be a very interesting twist, especially considering we've got, if you go to the comics, there's Nick Fury and an evil Nick Fury LMD running around. That's something we've talked about. Scorpio, Jake Fury, I think, is one of the names he goes by, or is that his son? There's too many Furies. But the possibility of who they could bring back opens a lot of options and possibilities. But who do you think is coming back? A lot of people are speculating Ward is going to come back in a new body. Honestly, I think Trip definitely has to come back. Is Mac going to come? Is he going to leave his daughter in the framework? His daughter wasn't a real person. Is he just going to, I mean, it's going to be heartbreaking for him to have to leave his daughter, but if there's this real thing, is he going to create a person out of nothing? I mean, that's basically what Ada is, but what is going to happen? Who do you think is coming back into the real world? Who's not going to make it? And what's going to happen with the machine? Is S.H.I.E.L.D. going to keep it? Because they do like to keep their, technology and things like that. Or is this going to be destroyed? Is it going to blow up on the oil rig? What's going to happen? I'm really curious who you think is going to survive, and we're coming up to the end here, so things are going to happen really quickly, I think. I think episodes are going to be moving very fast. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And don't forget to check out my other theories for Flash and Supergirl, and I have a weekly podcast. If you guys aren't aware of that, go check it out. It's on iTunes, or you can find it at my blog at goodnerdbadnerd.com. Until next week, guys, this has been Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Theories and Conspiracies.